This is stage one of doing a sugar wash so that we can make alcohol. So what we're going to need is a clean rag, a pair of scissors, also going to need a stirring stick, and I attach that to a drill just to make life easier, a thermometer, sterilising agent for our barrel, 5 litre jug just to top this up later if we need to adjust the temperature. The barrel itself has a sealed lid and a airlock on top. We have a valve at the bottom. So when we clean this, we'll put 3 tablespoons to 5 litres. I just use that as the measure. Put the stirring stick on the drill and just whip it all up. Once you've done that, undo this while you're draining it and just open that up and give it a swish around in the liquid that's in there. Use your rag to clean out in here, get all the top area and the top area of the lid, make sure all that's nice and clean. Assemble everything after you've done that. It does say no rinse, but I always rinse it out anyway. Turn that, make sure that is in the off position, otherwise you're going to have water all over the floor. And that will be ready. Because it's winter here, I'm also using a heat pad underneath which just takes the chill off. We'll be using 8 kilos of dextrose sugar. Or glucose sugar they call it here, dextrose. And I'm using a classic 8 turbo pack, which will give me 4 litres of around 90% pure alcohol at the end of the day. In this pack we've got our yeast. In the yeast it does tell you here, I'll be using this one here, the 8 kilo, and that'll give me a 20% yield, so say roughly 4 litres I usually get. We've got a start temperature which is 30 degrees C, so we have to, that's why we need the thermometer just to check that, and that'll be 5 to 10 days of run. While that also has a carbon pack that goes with it while it's fermenting. This just takes out the impurities. It is quite solid at times, so you need to massage it up before that gets stirred in. And this is our clearing agent, but this won't be used until the end, until a day or two before we're ready to do any distillation. Okay, so next we'll be getting it all together. Okay, so I've got roughly 5 litres of water in there. I think I said 3 of these before, but it's only 2 of the steriliser. 1, 2. That's there. And rinse around. Yeah, like a wash. Wash down where the bun came from. Okay. And on the side I've got a mark here at 20 litres is the one we'll be using. But it does have the markings on, but they're always hard to read, so I just highlight them with a marker. I'll be going for a temperature of over 30, so that by the time I add the dextrose in, that will tend to cool it off, and I'll be down to around 130 degrees for when I'm going to pitch my yeast into it. Okay, so I've got my 20 litres of water. It's about 37 degrees. By the time I put this in, it'll drop it off down closer to that 30. If you're using a hand stirrer, you might want to just put some in, stir it up, put some in, stir it up. As I'm using the electric one. Maybe I'll use it. Yeah, so there's our 8 kilos of dextrose in there. Alright, we'll put our yeast in. And I'll stir it. Now carbon, so make sure this is all feeling liquidy, and this stuff's messy, so don't spill it or get it anywhere. mix it with them. Okay. Okay, so just going to firmly fit this lid. Make sure it's squashed on well. And then I've got my airlock, which is about half full of water. And then that should start bubbling shortly. And that's us. We just leave that now until the bubbling stops, which will be about 7 days. Put our clearing agent in. It'll take all this carbon blackness out and drop it to the bottom, and we should have a relatively clear liquid to run through the still later on. One thing to consider is where you place your brew barrel, because in a week when we've finished and we've put in the turbo clear, we don't want this barrel here to be moved around because it might stir up the sediment in the bottom. So I've got mine set up at this height here, which means that I can put my still at the bottom, and I've actually got enough room so that sits on a dolly, and that way I can just push it into the kitchen where I'll do my distillation. And as we can see with the dextrose and everything added, we're up to about 25 litres of product there at the moment. Okay, see you in a week.